So I'm trying to record this very, very dim cloud formation that's outside, but it's really dim. Let's see here. That's the light across the street. Yeah. Come on, kid. You gotta come back over here. I was just gonna show you off. Well, you can't see anything. People are like, what is going on here? Okay, well, it's not gonna. If it comes back, I guess I'll have to turn the camera that way. But this is definitely not working, so we'll just have to, for the time being, talk to me. How's everybody doing out there tonight? It's hilarious because I never have any people on here, but that's fine. I don't mind. The status update is for me, for my record, for the sake of documenting it, and that's what needs to be done. Let's see here if I can turn that just a little bit more down. How about that? All right. Well, hi everyone. So much has been going on. It's the 28th of October. It's about 7:17. And I'm here in Vegas. There's been some interesting things happening. The 25th was the 6th year anniversary. Oh, there's the camera right. I want to look at you. Of my child's abduction. And I litigated for a year. And I just found out that the habeas corpus can be used to request the return of a child for violations of your constitutional rights. Wow, that's awesome because the family court doesn't function according to the Constitution, statutes, and things like that. But nonetheless, my case follows all the laws. The laws are on my side. I've been defrauded, left for dead. Well, I'm going to try to take the positive side of the road first and then stay there because that's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day. How we use the situations we're in to learn and to improve ourselves. It's kind of getting cold. That's okay. I'll leave it there for a little bit. Yeah. I don't know why corruption, criminals, families could all just kind of work together, whether they have chosen to do this or not. It still qualifies as a racket, a RICO operation. And all of it in ignorance of children, children's safety, children's happiness, a children's home. You know, mothers are losing custody at an alarming rate for bringing up concerns of domestic violence. Now, the family court will never tell you anything that matters to you, even though they are trustees. This is all functioning as a trust contract. They'll never tell you the habeas corpus would work. They'll never tell you, oh, you guys weren't ever married. You don't really need to be here in family court. I mean, the law system, the legal system is a weapon being used against us. It's evident more now than ever. The criminals are being let out of jail. Innocent people are being sought after, ideologies are just at extremes. And what I see a circumstance so, a circumstance so obnoxious and so extreme that it's obvious that, to me, that the sides, the political parties, they're begging for some kind of change to happen because they can't make the change themselves. They can't make the change themselves. They're like too committed to this ball to the wall idea. Ball to the wall, vie for controlling the world. You can see the premeditation being set up from 10 miles away. They want to take the children from the parents. And you want to know what that's got something to do with? This has been basically ignoring the pink elephant in the room, which is man enslaved woman. Right back at the beginning. Yeah, they made the religious lie, falsely translated the Bible, and said, "Yeah, you're my helper." Really? And so it went on like that. Men have been ruling the world, and we were their property, and our babies were their property, and we can cook and clean. And excuse me, this changing of weather is really affecting my throat, but it's okay. I'm getting a drink. Yeah, so and it's obvious when you read the Bible because it's so obnoxiously masculine. It's hard to find a story about a female that talks about her in a positive way. This is relevant because what I'm dealing with is very fascinating and mind-blowing. Because here I am raising my child happier than ever, realizing when I had Alec, it dawned on me that if there is a God, which I know there is because I can feel it, this is my God. This is the creation. This is who I want to worship. Worship isn't a word that I use. I look at the word honor because the word worship just seems weird. I don't like the idea of any kind of like creepy bringing things and sacrificing things or anything like that. That is, see, a God that would create this earth, let alone the universe, us, nature, would not think anywhere close to like mankind's thought process. Wanting to be a king, wanting to be worshipped, and don't worship anybody else, and blood sacrifice. No, that doesn't sound like a God thing. Sending your son, only begotten, to die for other people's sins. Where did that ever make sense to anybody? Why would it make sense to want to worship this image of a dead man nailed up to a cross, bloody, naked, tortured? And you're all, that's Jesus. We love our Jesus. Wow, that's really, really, really creepy. Just swap out the characters, swap in somebody else, and I'm like, oh, hey, girl, what's that new necklace you got there? Oh, it's just my friend, Michael, hanging, tortured to death, bleeding and such. Yeah, just keep him right there on my heart. No way. That's not God. As far as wrath of God goes, again, mankind's thought process, like, do as I say, and if you don't, then I'll bring the wrath. That doesn't sound right either. Doesn't sound right at all, because God wouldn't be petty. That's a chip on its shoulder, egotistical kind of man thought process, God wouldn't think like that. And for that matter, when you look closely at the Bible, hello, there's too many questions that you're like, okay, where's the mom here? So you can already start smelling on the outset when you look around the world. Masculine religion, masculine religion, masculine religion, masculine religion. Looks like these countries are working together. Looks like these religions are working together against woman. Man is exalted in Catholicism, Christianity, Muslim, Hinduism. Well, Hinduism actually is more him, her, but it still is, it still has its, oh, believe me, in India, they definitely have the role of man and woman. So the Judaism, they all have a problem with imagining a woman being more than them. And it's not like it's a conversation that's about that. But the problem is that they created the conversation of we belong to them, we're their property, and we're their helper. And some other obnoxious scriptures that try to insinuate that it's a burden to carry the baby. And so we're basically just here to carry the baby for him because it's a burden. And this is just disgusting because that's just, my instincts tell me, honestly, that woman was the earthling, and we, through parthenogenesis, created babies that were female, who created babies that were female, who created babies that were female. And we lived in like a community style sisterhood. And that man is in fact the intelligence that swooped up, that wanted to play. And thinking itself clever, it knew what to do with the genetics, took the genetics and created its opposite, and then showed up and said, hey, I'm back. I'm your master. I made you guys. And they're like, oh, right. Of course, he didn't realize that wasn't going to work very well for him because he wanted to play. And now that he's told us that he created us, we just kind of like tiptoed around the guy. He knows everything. He created us. And he's sitting there like not feeling the love, because the problem was that he came in superior. If he would have just tried to be one of us, he would have been able to play all day long. We would have shown him everything, and it would have been great. But that carried on, and now that we're mating with a man and some boys start happening, eventually there's going to be a group of them, and eventually their testosterone is going to get the better of them, and eventually there's going to be a fight that breaks out, and someone's going to have to be the one who can rein them all in. And here you go. Barbarianism off to its start. But I'm by no means am against the Bible or any of the religion's doctrines. I think it's very fascinating to consider where the Hebrew language, for example, came from. Did a man write those characters? Where did they get those characters? Have you seen how many languages there are? Where did they get their characters? Well, you know what? I think I've seen it in the sky. I've seen so much writing, and I've got photographs of it. But then if it was written in the sky, then how did they cipher which letter was which? And the sounds and such. It's a very fascinating topic of conversation. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because the sky phenomenon that I've been experiencing is just more and more awesome. I can't even explain it. Did I lose my phone? It's amazing. Okay, but it's not just taking pictures of clouds. I have recordings where it's like a voice. It says tutukui. Wow. Like, I need to get in touch with some scientists and scholars and go, what is this? I have languages that I found underneath the light. And also, got a symbol showing up on my arm. And I don't know anything about the Bible, but it's been taking me to these scriptures to try to find out about them. There you go. Yeah. It's been there for like 2 months. And fascinatingly, the scriptures I've been inspired to look up are like telling my story. And I told this story a long time ago. I've always wanted to change the world, but I thought we all did. I thought we all wanted to be the president of the United States. Like when we were in school and the teacher tells you can do anything. I thought we were all kind of vying for that, but it turns out not everybody does. Well, my daughter does too. We talked about changing the world together and feeding the homeless and making everybody feel better. No more suffering, no war, and no money problems. That's just stressful and weird, especially when you see a world where people have plenty of it and they don't care about others. Money's the real problem, you guys. Like I was saying, that legal system, the problems in the world, all of the problems in the world stem from this money drug. Okay? Power drug, control drug, and superior drug. These are drugs that these people are addicted to. And they're hiding behind the facade of it because they're like, what drugs? What addiction? Like my mom, who spent her entire life just fucking off. And now she's all guilty and full of shame. And I shouldn't have smoked and drank coffee while I was pregnant. And I, but then now she's at that point where she's projecting herself on me out of that, I don't want you to turn out like me thing. But okay, fair enough. But first of all, mommy didn't raise me. And second of all, stop projecting yourself on me. That's not fair because I'm already beyond you. I'm your evolution. Children are our evolution. And when they're born, they already have the stuff that our DNA has at the time of conception. So they're our evolution. Our children already know what we know pretty much. And I think there's also a static DNA that updates them and the quantum entanglement with mother. That's why me and my child are connected always. No matter where in space and time, we're connected. So it's not appropriate for her to try to put on me her guilt issues and, I guess you could say, ability to have disregarded herself. It's offensive to me to assume that I would be just like that. And what's worse is that it's so offensive to even assume that I like that she should tell me what's up, like as if I'm that. No. It's not okay for parents, bosses, elders to try to like make somebody feel inferior, or to want to be superior so strongly. That's one of those addictions, and it's all money. Money drives that whole show. The competition game. Winner, loser. So now you got the money game, which means there's a classes game, which means there's a cheating game, which means there's a higher, lower, in, out, yes, no, can, can't. We've got stakeholders and boards of members. Our lives are being ran by corporations that don't exist. There's no person you can talk to. It's why are we letting this happen? Well, I think I know why. It's because they've got weapons and they've got us caged in and there's nowhere we can go. And they're stronger than us. And it's scary. At the end of the day, you'd rather not die on the battlefield. This is what I think. I don't necessarily believe in dying for a cause unless it's in the action of fighting for the cause, but not going out there to be, I'd rather live at least and get something out of this and not have life be in vain. I think that to do that so balls to the wall, I think is not intelligent. There's no purpose in that. I don't think God would want us to do that sort of stuff. But the Constitution, back to this habeas corpus thing, it guarantees us those rights. And they're supposed to uphold them, I guess, if you get to the right magistrate. And it also tells us that when the government oversteps its reaches and its, authority, that we as the people are obligated to basically make a change in government. We're obligated to. And the reason why it says that is most likely similar to the reasons why we have to agree to the terms and conditions. It's just for legal purposes, for the sake of saying, FYI, here's your disclaimer. The government's going to go ahead and try to overstep its authority. And the people are expected to do something about it or accept it. Now, I love the fact that there's a habeas corpus. There's a handful of writs available to try to like get a higher court to get a lower court to do something appropriate. There's a mechanism. There's a mechanism. Well, where's the mechanism for the people to swap out the form of government? Did they just kind of like leave it for us to read in between the lines and say, well, I guess what they want us to go? They want us to riot. They want people to become the unrest of the people. They want people to like be all proud to carry their guns and patriots so that they can corral us all into cages and then hand out the shoes and the one size fits all t-shirts a lot easier because they see us as a burden. That's what they see us as. And they see woman as somebody that is the evil serpent, deceiver, harlot. It's all bad. The way that their thought process is, it's just childish, like teenager going through puberty. Mother doesn't think like that. God doesn't think like that. Gaia doesn't think like that. So the Constitution was written, right? Basically saying, we double dog dare you to go ahead and try to come up against us because that's what we're hoping for. And that's what you see. They're trying to aggravate us. They're going, what about the CRT, huh? You guys going to do anything? Okay, how about transgenders? We're going to have our teachers molest your children, your elementary school students, and you don't have to find out about it. Huh? And you guys going to do anything? Okay. How about these books with bisexual, fellatio, teaching children sexual fetish style things? Way too, whoa. And anything now? COVID? Vaccines? Intellectual property? Come on, everybody. When are you guys going to do anything? You better believe they're going to keep stepping it up until we do something because they want us to riot so that they can come up with an excuse to corral us. And here's my solution. I don't think that they made a mechanism readily available, but I think it's clearly stated by implication, which is all the rest of the Constitution, which, by the way, all of our rights are provided in the amendments. As if the Constitution itself was simply what those guys were talking about to secure how the voting was going to go amongst them. It's truly what the Constitution looks like. Oh, whoops, we forgot about their rights. Oh, yeah. Then they had to add amendments. It's funny. But inside of there, when it talks about and the voting, precisely. In other words, the ballots, in my opinion, are supposed to provide a box to check for new form of government. How many out there have not voted because there's nothing worth voting for? You don't really feel like they've disclosed to you full disclosure. So I technically can't vote. We're not being disclosed everything we need to know in order to make an informed decision. But if there was a box for new form of government, you better believe that's a civil way of reflecting my my opinion and my wishes as a citizen, to put my vote and make it count. Doesn't that make sense? I think it does. I think that it's safe to say that this is something to keep in our back pocket because I have a feeling that what's going on with this aggressive political good cop, bad cop game, which I'm not fooled by, is evidence that the parties themselves are trying to change the form of government from the inside, underneath our noses. Essentially, by doing these obnoxious things, they're going, you guys going to do anything yet? And if we go ahead and show up and vote, we go, all right, that's my representative. That's my representative, right? People think to themselves, what's the least of two evils? No, bad decision. This is not one of the, well, I guess you got to pick one. Oh, no. We need to say new form of government. We need that option on the ballot. That ballot's not valid if it doesn't have that option, right? Because it's our obligation in the Constitution If you're not going to put that on the ballot, then that's not a valid ballot. That's basically like a one side vote. Not you didn't give the people their option for a new form of government, and you're not going to pull it off by just giving us a couple independents. No, no, no. We need to be able to say new form of government. And the reason why I believe that we should check this box is because, well, we're familiar with getting audited. Now they're throwing out there the 87,000 million, or 87,000 new IRS agents. So I think it's a perfect time for us to say, well, then I think it's perfect time for an audit, a full audit, a full accounting of the trustees' actions and expenditures. And we'll double check that they have, executed their fiduciary obligations and duties in our best interest with the utmost care, because that's what you do when you are a beneficiary and there's a trust that your interests are in consideration for. It's our obligation to audit it. If we don't ask for an audit, what message are we saying by implication? We're saying, well, whatever you guys want to do, go ahead. It's too much for us to wrap our brains around, but it isn't. They just keep things going so fast, back to back to back to back to back, that we don't have enough time to catch up. And that's precisely why we have to say, time out, time out. Come on now. Things have gotten crazy. This administration has pushed the limits. We're waking up. We're going, oh, okay. COVID allowed us to stay home for a little bit and remember what that feels like. So now we've got a little bit of our home back in our hearts, and we need to be protective. And I don't mean protective of the United States of America. I'm not anti-United States of America. I'm not anti-anything. I'm not in opposition or an adversary of any of this. What I am is an advocate for Earth and Earthlings, including our wildlife and our plant life and the life forms, biological beings. Clouds are alive, and I can prove it. I can prove that there's intelligence in them. Well, it should be evident enough. We got a computer. It should be evident enough when the von Neumann probes and von Neumann self-replicating experimentation showed pieces of wood that were cut out to look like puzzle pieces. When they've got an open notch, and then the one that goes, in and outy, and they're in a line, and you kind of just jostle them back and forth and nothing happens. But when you put two of them together and connect them, it's called a prime, and you reintroduce them to the group and you jostle them around, all of a sudden the other ones flip and connect to each other. So cool. Well, that's an example of intelligence. It's in the life. It's in the seed. Yes, I'm getting chills. It's so awesome. So respecting life, God, nature is not a debate. It's not about God or science. That's silly. It's not about man or woman. It's not about any of this stuff that we've been really force-fed. It's a lot more organic. And you guys, we have a lot of resources on this earth that are being wasted. But look what they're doing. They wrote the Sustainable Development Goals in the 1990s, 170 countries or something. And it took them this long to start to bring us in on the conversation. Well, that tells you that they wanted to milk it for everything they can get out of it. Their industry and their commerce. That's gross. Because personally, I would think that they'd come home and they'd be like, all right, guys, we're going to have this sustainable development. We're shooting for 2020, 2030. Heads up. Now, if any of you want to do so, we're going to be cleaning up our carbon footprint. We're going to be cleaning up our usage of fossil fuels, right? Just a heads up. If you plan on buying a car, anytime the electric ones come out, go ahead and get it. We're going to be making that a rule. Wouldn't that be considerate? Wouldn't that be one of those moves that makes you trust the government? And the word government I don't even like because it just sounds so. I'm talking about administration, or how about, when we have An ambassador, it's basically like a world of ambassadors. And I'd like to do a mock MUN of women, specifically from all the colleges around the world, where we do a mock meeting. And we come to the meeting as if we're representing our own countries. We bring to the table what we've got as resources and what we've got for deficits, what the issues in our country is, and see what happens. See how those women get along and how they can come together with a game plan that's not going to include war. It's not going to include money games of money markets and thieving and such, death profiles, stealing intellectual. No. It's not going to involve false observations and hypotheses that don't go anywhere with science. It's going to involve like real-time data that actually tells us what is going on, not what they think, which is usually wrong, by the way, if you read those papers. And I believe an economy could be fixed by like a self-encrypted, like if I was online 24 hours a day, not on like there, but on my own recording 24 hours a day, then I think it should be able to be self-encrypted, which I think sounds great. And also I could get paid for putting my 24 hours onto my own archive from my own records. So that way, if there ever becomes a dispute, I can prove what did happen and not be subject to all this. Well, we don't really know the truth. Think about it, guys. What does not being able to verify what did happen create? Everything, all litigation. I mean, look at how they're able to exploit us with all of that. They're able to exploit us through all of this. We've had computers for a while now, and you've got to ask yourself why they're not using it to like double check the paperwork that's getting just filed in the legal system. It's because they don't want it to be accurate. They want to be able to sign off on it based on a bribery. And the psychological warfare. You know, it's like man just figured out he had emotions that he wanted to express finally. And he goes all the way to the extreme to become a woman in order to express those emotions. But they keep missing the boat, which is, what about us? They never gave us our rights back. Hey, you don't get to jump in line a second time before I get my first. Where's our rights to have our emotions? Oh, no, you'll be assaulted. And you'll be manipulated and tricked. You'll be tricked to feel comfortable to open up, and then they'll cage you and go, this means that, that means that. And it's all psychological manipulation tactics. These people are highly skilled and highly corrupt and perverse, because the racket that I'm dealing with is absolutely a human trafficking, child exploitation racket that starts with a seduction scheme. And they target the wealthy descendants, or the descendants of wealthy trust funds. So that way, while they're at it, at least down the road, as long as they control that child that comes out of that person you target, who's going to get the money, they'll be living large. And that's what happened in my situation. And there's probably even more reasons for it, but it was a simple seduction scheme. Seduce the woman, get her pregnant. And then he started harassing and lodging false records immediately. It seemed like it was his game plan that by the time my daughter was 5 years old, he'd be taking her from me. And when that didn't work, he just simply kept at it until he was able to. But it involved the use of the courts and the mediator and a lawyer, and all of it was dirty. And I'm left for dead. And that's what they wanted also. But they're not going to let me just die like that. They're going to get some genetic experimentation in there while they're at it. See what they can knock me down with and see what my sequences do. Because mankind is that mad scientist that figures he learns the most when things are at their extremes. And it's not quite the case, but he's learned a thing or two. But that's what's going on. Genetic profiling. And they're using this lingo language, the same lingo they use in computing, the same language they use in genetics, and similar language they use to describe like people. It's all the same stuff, the way I can see it. And I know that it's a science they don't quite understand. I already know this. But they're so arrogant that they can't allow themselves to deploy a science with unknowns. They've got to act like they know what they're doing. And it's dangerous. Look what happened with the vaccine. So we need to be careful about what we're doing. Our children are our children. These schools, this indoctrination. Look, I think we need to simply say, you know what? We've heard enough. And we're not angry. We're simply decided that it's perfect time for us to join the conversation finally. So you guys can relax. Yeah, go kick your feet up. Relax for a minute. We're going to talk about things, and we're expecting to be brought up to par with where we're at with technology, etc., etc. We don't want this game anymore. And all I can say is I never want to see another political commercial in my life. How much money did that cost? Then you ring my doorbell and put nice fancy cards. How much did that cost? How much? Let's write that down. How much did they all spend? How much on cell phones for the people across the border? We should never hear one more excuse about funding for schools or funding for homeless or any of it. So what this tells you is that it's almost like they're going, hey, China, you're going to have to come and repossess any of the collateral we gave you or we signed over on you. And China's like, yep, I'm coming. I'll be right there. Installing police to come and monitor their people in this country. Listen, I'm not a scaredy cat, and I'm not about to even fall for this worldwide weird nonsense. It doesn't go down, but it's pushing the barriers and it's acting like it really will, but it won't. I have confidence in that. I have confidence in that. I have confidence that we, the people of this earth, are caring people in our hearts, are simple people in our hearts, and are capable. And that when it hits that moment, whatever it may be, it's coming soon, we're all going to go, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to change. Simply because it needs to. Simply because we're on the brink of like a brand new era of technology, quantum, and it's going to be so awesome. But we need to tidy things up first, you know? And we don't need to be continuously subjected to these like last minute deadlines thrown at us, inflation thrown at us, higher taxes thrown at us. They treat us like we're worthless. And I think that we are not. And we deserve the opportunity to offer ourselves something that we all do agree on. So I suggest that we all push for what? At least demand that the ballot has that option. Otherwise, it's not a proper ballot. Right? It's like, well, where's the new form of government option? Right? Like if it was taken off the menu or something, I'm trying to think of an example right now, but on a test question, you know, one is A, B, C, or D. If they removed one of them, and that's the answer, that makes it not valid. Are you trying to force me to choose one of the other options left because the answer is not there? So I'm not going to choose A, B, or C when the answer is D. Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to force us to pick A, B, or C? Are you trying to get us to question what the answer is? It's all psychological, and it's weird. So I have a question about Jesus. If there are so many people that are around this world that are praise Jesus, you know, you can only get to God through me, which by the way is not the way the scripture translates. Well, so then that means you guys believe he's on his way, right? And then what? Do you think he's going to come down and then go to some capital somewhere, and probably they think is going to Jerusalem, I don't know, and then implement some laws and some judgment. I mean, if anybody takes it seriously, how come people aren't talking about at least that new form of government that's on its way, and we should be getting prepared for it, if that's the case? Huh? Because if it's not Jesus, and it was Christ that it actually said, which means child of God, which means the mother-child covenant, the original covenant of God was between mother and child, not husband and wife. Because man stole that covenant and said, that's mine, now exalt me. And it's not the truth. I bet you $5. Get your hands on the agnostic books, the Apocrypha. Translate it from the concordance for yourself. You'll see. You'll see. So the Christ actually is the child of God. And therefore all of us are children of a mother. And when properly situated, our world will be a healed place, because the covenant will be, renewed accordingly, with mothers properly and children properly honored, and no exaltation of the king guy. You'll be able to be a woman when you can graduate where you're at. So if it's not Jesus and it's just the Christ, well, then that would mean that there's a large group of people on this earth that are looking for the return of the Christ, right? Would it be born into a human body at this point in time? Would it have to be a boy? Could it be a girl with a Y chromosome? Could it be a female that changes her gender? Is it possible that God's word even includes things like that? Descriptions about the times that are applicable today, actually? Okay. I have a question why the Jewish people believe that it's okay to still have this conversation like that's their promised land. I'm thinking that sounds like a long time ago conversation that just doesn't feel applicable to today. And I don't understand it anyway, because aren't you guys with Palestine because Egypt is no longer the thing? What's the problem with Egypt again? I mean, no one ever told me that, what that was all about. But is Ra El? It's like Ra El. Yeah, it is Ra El. So this mankind thing keeps trying to make an argument, start a fight, create a competition, and therefore a winner and a loser. And that's where it's all gone wrong. But it's not going to stay that way forever. It never could. That's destruction. That's not living forever. So what I'm dealing with the sky, you guys, is what all of us should be waking up to seeing. God's here. God, right? In the Bible, it's like Lord, 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 and it's talking about different characters. The Lord of the house even, The Lord of our earth, Gaia, I believe, is an intelligence in all of nature. It's wind, it's water, it's soil, and therefore the clouds makes perfect sense. And the fire, that there would be intelligence in there, and it would be depicted. And how else would we be able to communicate with it other than some kind of inner knowing? If the eyes can see and hear and know everything, which I believe it does, well, then, of course, if it can know my thoughts, then it can inspire me from within. So that Lord, I don't have to go as far as the whole universe. I could just say, let's try to get in tune with the Lord of this earth. It's up to you. Got to look. You got to look for yourself, and you got to look closely. And it's awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's like now it knocks on my wall when it wants me to come outside. I'm not kidding around, and I'm not insane. But there's ideological, aggressive, evil people out there right now in the multitudes. They're so insecure and so power hungry that they want to eat up any kind of goodness, wholesomeness, innocence, virtue. It just wants to eat it up and spit it out. So we're under threat right now to expose our emotions. And lo and behold, they just want to call us names. They control our internet, our telecom. They can do deep fakes and copy your voice. They can hack into you. They can destroy you. They can kick you out of the system, and now you just can't do anything. And I understand what that feels like. So the status update I have is whatever my family and their bloodline is, they haven't shared it with me, but they have definitely scapegoated me. And I have linked my grandfather to this area here in Las Vegas through the place I'm living. Ironically ended up here, well, coincidentally ended up here, whose ex-girlfriend was married to my grandfather's second wife's son. But that's not by coincidence. There's other links to people that I know in Huntington Beach. The father of my child is linked to my uncle, the trustee of the trust. And my mom, she seems to enjoy her jealousy and hating on me a little too much. My dad, it seems like my whole family has some reason why they've all just been willing to let me die and let my daughter die, as if they've been paid off, as if they've been programmed, or as if they've been threatened, who knows? But there isn't a reason anyone will explain to me, and I just get scapegoated and gaslit, called names and sent away. And that doesn't make any sense. But there's a storyline in the Bible that talks about how the daughter Zion, I think, wakes up out of a stupor. And let me tell you something. It's this sky phenomenon that's been waking me up to see what's going on. And it's giving me this footage and this evidence and these languages. Obviously, I have to seek the languages. I sought to find God, and then it showed up. I wrote a song about needing a galactic Uber to help me go get my daughter. And that night was the first night that I saw the clouds. That was 2020, November 2020. So it's been a couple of years that I've been getting to know this intelligence, and it's beautiful. And it's available to all of us. It's not the story of only the prophet and stuff like that. No. Prophet, I don't think, is the word. Why would anybody want to call themselves a prophet? Like take the bull by the horns and say that you can see the future, read the future. What I'm experiencing is God is showing me how the prosecution I said I needed to do to get justice in my situation, and the win-win solution that I had to come up with in order to imagine anything rationally getting justice. It showed me in Isaiah where there's a persecution. And it defines literally to a T what I'm saying is going to happen. Yeah. Yep. There's so much more insights that I've received about these scriptures. But I believe that if you went in to the concordance and looked at each term, I know it's time consuming, but if it matters to you, I think you'd be able to find a word in the many that are offered to make the story fit your life as well. Someone get back to me and let me know if that's true. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, look, I'm not here to say I'm anybody. I'm not here to be even to coin what's happening. I'm simply going, what do you guys think? Well, look at these pictures. What do you think? Look at this language. What do you think? Listen to this voice. What do you think? Happens to say in the Bible that it's in the clouds and in the wind. Happens to say a whole lot about the story that I'm experiencing with my child. My child is in fact described as the God. See, our children are older than us. Our children choose us. So it would meet the mathematics where the first is the last and the last is the first. And therefore my child is like older than me and I'm older than my mom. And it makes sense in kind of a converging way with what goes up must come down and meets in the middle, like anti-gravity. But anyway, I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings or try to force anyone's mind to open. I'm simply trying to provide some food on the table. And if it looks interesting, and if you're curious about how it tastes, I can tell you it's all fresh food. I suggest that we all take a real close look at ourselves, at our lives, at our children, at truth, at purpose, and at the end of the day. We all just want to have a home, a bed to sleep in that's warm, a clean shower, food that I can grow. I don't want to have to depend on any grocery store. Water that's clean. And the ability to be in a community and choose for ourselves who we want to be around. And to respect this earth along the way. And when we give each other abundance, this 24 hours, if everybody's not having to worry about how much they got in their pocket, there goes all your diseases, there goes all your stress, there goes all your games, competitions, cheating, murders, especially if you're all on the record 24 hours a day, there's not going to really be any of that bullshit he said, she said anymore, or thinking they're going to get away with it, or backdoor deals, or perversions, because we're going to be able to develop it to know how to help us through things. And I call it my higher self, the intelligence that I connect with. I get to be its arms and legs, and it gets to be my higher self. And together, we're going to accomplish so much. It's going to be awesome. And when we develop it properly, people aren't going to have to learn to type real fast or learn how to do marketing or learn how to develop, because it'll integrate with us. And now we're free to be more creative thinkers. But you better believe that when we're not worried about where we're going to sleep and where it's going to come from, all of a sudden it turns out we all have a pep in our step, a sense of style, and a sense of pride in our planet and want to participate. All of a sudden, people aren't going to be just lazy and fat sitting around. They'd like to make us think that's the case, but it's not. It's not. Matter of fact, we're going to be so stressed. The stress is going to relieve. We're going to feel such a relief so quickly. It'll be like night and day difference that fast. I guarantee you. The issue that I foresee is just these handful of overly aggressive masculine military mongrels that don't think they're going to lose power and are really dead set against not. And they've got control of their militaries and their weapons that they have to use. They just want to use them really badly. I don't know. I think that they should be able to be rational, especially if we put the pressure on them to like think straight. And I guess worst case scenario, maybe Elon can make them a spaceship and they can go play over there somewhere else for a minute. But I guarantee you that won't be allowed to happen either, because we're not just the only living things in this world existence. And we're not allowed to take our disease of like war mongrel out there to mess with out there. You know, keep your trash, at least if you're going to keep your place like a trash heap, don't let your heap fall into the street. Keep it tight in your area. So we all love life. And we all deserve love. We all deserve to know what we know. Not have things on a need to know. That's like weird, self-righteous. Anytime you start going on and on with your calculations, you better believe you probably missed something somewhere, because it shouldn't be that difficult. They like to make us think that, though. So that way it's their industry, that they're the only ones that know. And it's childish. We don't need to do it that way. No mother wants to see their baby die for any stupid reason. And when you've got mothers in charge, you better believe it's going to be a place of respectability. And you better believe it. It's our turn anyway. But the good news I have is that there isn't anything to fear from what I see and what I'm being shown. Hey guys, this belongs to all of us. And we all wanted it to belong to all of us. And wonderful. Now we're going to do it. We're not late. We're right on time. We're just going to do what we got to do. And we're going to get that future. We're going to prepare ourselves and our planet for the future. Our children have something worthwhile to inherit. People are going to get along, aren't they? Israel, Egypt, Palestine, Russia, China, North Korea. Can y'all get along for once? Pretty please? Go ahead and show us how handsome you can be when you act like a gentleman. A double dog dare. Imagine if we decided, like, as a planet, next Friday, we're all going to plant the seeds. We're going to pass them all out. And everybody, tomorrow, plant seeds. In the open spaces. All of us, that day. Think about that. Wow, it's a good thing way to look at it. You plant some lettuce, you plant some carrots, In just a short little bit of time, there's going to be like a whole crop of freaking fresh vegetables growing up all over the planet for all of us. If we all dedicated ourselves to just doing it that day. Not like allocating it to that guy who's going to allocate it to that guy. All that penny pinching is all a money tactic. And it's insanity. So be careful. The people that have all the money, which is just a couple people, they don't want to lose their power and their money. Yeah, we know. I know. But at the end of the monopoly game, we turn the money back in because it's not real money. And neither is yours. You have to turn it back in. You have to come back down to earth with the rest of us. So, keep up the good work as far as the mind stuff, ideas and creativity. The power-hungry, thirsty, blood, satanic, creepy perverts. Out of here. 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 So, I exposed my emotions today because I called the Riverside District Attorney, the county that it appears my child's father lives now. And I haven't explained the situation to anyone for a while. And she had a friendly personality, and I was enthusiastic to hope that she'd help. Typical, because when this happened, I stuttered for a year. No one would listen to me. No one would hear me out. And I stuttered, And it's the craziest thing. So when I got on the phone, she says, "So how can I help you?" I got flushed because now I'm also traumatized because of the corruption by the police, the courts, the judges, the attorney, everybody. So I've got this trauma thing. It's not comfortable. It certainly sucks. Anyhow, so I didn't even know where to begin. I just start rambling, hoping she'll chime in or help direct me. But she didn't. And that gives me even more nervous, nervous energy to just keep filling in the blanks. And it was so cold. I got zapped with the vibe of silence, almost like she put the phone on mute. You know what I mean? When you get a vibe, which made it even more uncomfortable and typical, just like the rest of them. Tries to corner me into something else than it was not. And never returned to the conversation about my daughter is in danger for 6 years now by a heinous criminal who I can prove armed robbery, evading the police in Oregon, Utah, and California, drug manufacturing and sales, domestic violence. She didn't even ask any questions. There's a second wife in Utah. Didn't ask any questions. She's not concerned about my daughter. I have drawings. I said, my daughter's, she didn't want to hear a thing. She simply wanted to put me in a corner and then try to treat me like an idiot that doesn't understand what jurisdiction is. Really? That's sad. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Same thing. I'm going to actually apply this term. Asshole. When you're dealing with the place you get in contact with when your child is missing or exploited, and they're not giving you any kind of information, getting back to you, treating you with protocol, or acting like you're even there with an issue that they're supposed to be working on. When the courts do that to you, when the police do that to you, when your entire community somehow, for some reason, is looking at you like you've got a monster sitting on your head, and no one will explain themselves, and nobody acts like you or your child even exist. What am I supposed to think? Well, these authorities know precisely what I'm gonna think, and they know precisely that when I think that, they're gonna put me in a corner and go, oh, yeah, now you thought that. It's called a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You're obligated as a parent to protect your child. So if domestic violence happens, don't be the parent that doesn't report it, because you can get in trouble for failing to protect. Okay, right? I knew this. So you bring it to the court, right? And they help you? Oh, I mean, you can't do that either. You try to call a man, a domestic violent person, and bring doctor's evidence of sodomy against your child from the doctor, and you're going to lose custody. That abuser is going to get the custody. So then what do I do? Geez. I don't know. I guess you don't have any options. I guess women don't exist and fathers are important now. And abuse is okay and pedophiles are free. But God forbid you have a political point of view that we don't agree with. You're going to jail. Wait a minute. But these people are acting like narcissists, like mentally ill, personality disordered, dysfunctional. They're like molesting us, all of them, in this aggressive, don't know their science, but they're deploying it anyway stuff. Aren't there any psychologists that have a test that we could give them? Of course not. Because even the psychologists, they're all suffering from this disease of the mind, and it's an addiction. Their mental superiority, that little power they get, is an addiction. And the money men don't want to admit it. And the behavioral health, they hide behind their behavioral health certification so they can be the weirdo. And they prey on us, the innocent. And it is the end times. And that is the work of the devil. And it simply is not going to go down like that. But it's definitely very scary. It's very effective at preventing anyone from knowing what to do or how to do it. And that's what makes me so sick to my stomach. To look around at people complacent, like just because it's not happening to you, you think it's nothing you have to pay attention to? You better believe there's ideologies that are dangerous, and we're going to have that conversation. Yeah. We're going to make sure that those rules are in place and that nobody gets to think that they get to even violate a child as a child. And we're going to reinstill that covenant that's mother and child. Here's the deal. Woman creates life, and she makes a covenant with her child. That child belongs to her and her alone, if she's not married to you. So men, be careful where you put your semen, or get her to sign something first. Otherwise, you're out. And the only thing I can come up with as a solution for this abortion problem, this abortion scheme, throw that at you. Here we go. We'll have to take one for the team again, but it'll be okay. If we put a copper, it's only copper, IUD in women at the time they get their period. They stay in there for 5 to 10 years. That's the best we can do to at least prevent us from getting pregnant. And then that way, if you're ready to have a baby at 16 or 25, just come into the doctor and have it removed, which involves simply stating on the record, I'm planning on having a child, which allows us the opportunity to think about it for real, and think about it for real. Maybe there'll be other things that'll be put in place for the benefit of it. Nothing too invasive or but certainly enough to make it need to make sense. We're not going to have any of this nonsense. Mankind's going to take a back seat and kick his feet up and watch the game right where he's happy and out of our way where we're happy. I can run circles around you, babe. Just don't get in my way, honey. Otherwise, we're going to have problems, right? It's a joke. It means women are awesome. Let us shine. You wonder why you guys got so, pardon my French, but bisexual or sleeping with men who love men because they love themselves so much. They don't like women. They hate them. It's this jealousy thing. Well, tell you why. It's because they yoked us in the beginning because he wanted us to be his little helper, and that's where it went wrong. He never realized that by doing that and taking it for his own, he was never going to get what he truly actually wanted, to see a woman shine. And we only shine when we're not yoked. But when we shine, we're the hostess with the mostest, just like you want, but never knew how to get. This is where mankind gets told to shut up for a second, sweetheart. And he appreciates it when it's all said and done. We're not barbarians. We're not angry women. We're not mad. Oh, yeah. No invasive surgery. You better believe there's going to be a large portion of people that are in trouble. In trouble meaning taking things to a very slimy level. But God's going to handle you. We won't have to. So, whatever's going on with my family, it could turn out to be that these things were all coordinated by God, and I'm able to see the pattern, and I'm going, are they doing this all together? Are they doing this on purpose? I don't know. I'm not going to try to speculate on the answer. I'm just going to say, for whatever reason, my family's all lost in la la land, imagining things to scapegoat on me when they, like, if you don't ask any questions, it's kind of, don't pretend to be an investigator if you're not going to actually ask any questions. At least you could act like an investigator. You should at least act like you care if you're the child abduction unit. I'm just saying. They don't care. They want it to be as obnoxious as possible to send the message to you. We don't give a fuck. Okay? Otherwise, it's going to be concerning. Reading you loud and clear. Boss. Lady. I'll take it. I'll handle that from here. Thanks for nothing. You feeling good about yourself for just what? Being so skilled with deceit that you could cause me to open up to you and then you could assault me for it? And now remind me of the trauma and the frozen. And what? We're just asked out and no options? You better believe you should not be working in that type of an area of protection and be even close to that type of a mentality of disregard. The karma is heavy. The karma's heavy, people. You can't kill innocent and get forgiven by God. That never made any sense. You guys need to stop doing that. You guys need to stop talking all your crazy talk. Hullabaloo. Obviously, there's other intelligent life forms. There's like 100 million of them here on this planet. We're not dumb. And we need to stop letting them think that we are. And it's simple. This whole thing is going to move right into place when we go, oh, where's the box? Huh? Oh, the option for the people, new form of government, just in case I don't like any of these. You guys have a different ballot? I think I got the wrong one. Because until it's there, I can't make an informed decision. So you know that you might think you're tallying ballots, but if those all are missing that box, then those are all void. Did you get any other ones filled out? You didn't do that? Oh, okay. So here's the problem with that. You don't even have to try to prove anything. All the ballots have been void. When did you ever put the box on the ballot, babe? So then what were you doing? You were trying to force us to choose an answer between A, B, and C, even though we know the answer is D and it's not present. So you're hoping that I what? Get up and walk away and fail my test? Are you trying to, what's the word of that? There's a legal term for this. Yeah, it's almost like, it's coercion, okay? But it's fraud. It's like imposter. There's definitely so many different things that it violates. But I'm just trying to come up with an example of how obvious it is to all of us when you think about it the right way that, oh, well, duh. No, we couldn't make an informed vote, especially when your commercials are so obnoxious and all they do is assault each other. Well, what you've simply proven to me, all of you, is that you guys can't get along, which is not going to work for us. So where's the other options? If you proved that your money is best spent on obnoxious commercials that I never ever want to see again, then you've just proven that you're going to waste our money on wasteful things. Not going to work for us. Is anybody smelling this? It's pretty obvious. But they're going to try to put the fire underneath your feet and make you do it. Don't let them. Don't let them. This is a simple thing. We don't have to turn into rioting patriots, gun-falutin sovereigns like they'd like it to happen. We're civil, sane people of society, rationally situated, who care about our children and care about each other, but they've had their noses up our asshole for so long, we can't even take a shit. And we'd like them to get their noses out of our asshole right about now so that we can actually relax for a minute without all their excessive do it or else type of mentality they're threatening us under. There's nothing pretty about corruption, lies, violence, selling children and people for money, bad movies, bad video games, evil things. Why does anybody want to see any of that? We're not going to let it happen in the next era. Sorry, guys. If you want to pretend to be a murderer so badly, then I guess you're just going to have to dream about it at night and wait until you get to come back to Earth when we're back in the darkness and murderers can exist again. Oh, well. Write yourself a story and read it over and over again. We're not playing into it. We're not playing into your warmonger stuff. Not this way, not that way. I'm not going to give my kid a G.I. Joe set to play. We're going to be more creative and loving. And it's obvious you guys want to be able to cry already. Look what's going on. We're going to make it not 0 to 60. We're going to be the cool medium. And Mama knows what's best. Mama Earth. We're all connected. And everything's intelligent. And I really, really encourage you to look at the sky in the day, in the night. There's so many different energies. But what I'm trying to say is just from a photographer's perspective, it's so beautiful. The colors of blue, the colors of pink, the colors of gray, the colors of white. I mean, it's just so awesome. Oh, I should show you. I can do that. Let's see if I can. And then the photo editors, they really give you options to like pull out this light that's in the photograph, and it's like living light. Oh, you got to just try it out. See for yourself. Like, let's see here. Oh, this one night. This is crazy, but it really did look like this. Is it up here? Let's see if I can get it. Yeah. Oops, wrong way. Oh, Allison. Right? I'm like forgetting how to do you're driving and parking something. Go the opposite direction. Let's see. Oh, maybe you can see this one. It's so beautiful. Let's see. I really have to practice this. It's like an angel and like face of God, but see the heart for the eye and the nose? Like the Queen of Hearts? That's what I've been shown by God. God is love, light, and laughter. So I actually protect the vision that I had myself, and that this awesome phenomenon is going, hey, guess what? Check that out over there. Read that. Tell me what you think. And I'm all, is this what I'm saying? And it's going, yeah. And I'm like, no, that's just way too much. And so, hey, check it out. I'm like, what? It's really happening. Are you really showing me this? And it keeps going on like that. It's been going on for 2 years. Of course, I try to share it with my family because they've left me for dead. And of course, they don't want to hear a thing, and they're just like dead set on this idea that I'm crazy and that I need help. And you know what? I've been going through this persecution and exile for so long now that I don't stutter anymore, even though I did today because I allowed myself to be vulnerable, and and it bit me. It stung me. But I also don't let it get to me when my family does that sort of thing, because you want to know what it tells me now? Before I was so like irate about it, like, how could you guys do this and turn your back on us? Especially with hundreds of millions of dollars in a trust fund. But we'll get that justice. And the legacy of where we come from and who we come from, that's what I want to know. They don't want to tell me anything. It's not appropriate. But when they act that way towards me, all it says is they're insecure, they're unsure. And they too are just humans amongst humans that mainly caved in and said, fuck it. If you can't beat them, join them. This world is actually not full of many good people. Most people, in one way or another, turn a blind eye. And it's not their fault either, because it's the system of stress, barely making it, paycheck to paycheck. Could lose it in an instant, and I know what that feels like. I don't blame everybody for being protective of their bubble if they've got one. But you better believe there's been a whole lot of judgment that's poorly situated, foul, and egotistical, and inappropriate, and violent. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a future that provides the platform, the platform to grow properly. You know, the soil, I guess, is a better way to say it. We're gonna create the environment that's going to create that environment, and there's nothing that's going to stop it from happening that way. Why? Because that's what happens in harmony. The universe isn't going to let it go down to total evil, but it'll let it get that close, and it'll pull us out of it the hair of a chinny chin chin. But I'm still here, you know, and I've had many of those moments I can think back on, like where I was like, I do not know where it's going to come from. But obviously it did. So there's my vote of hope. Don't worry about the word God or the name God. Just know that everything is intelligent. Everything. And it's always watching. So don't think you're ever going to get away with anything. Believe in us. Dream bigger than you've ever dreamed, just so that way you'll land somewhere good. And above all, honor the children as our elder. Give it a shot. You'll see what happens when you do. That's Christ, because it's innocence that loves. And when you love it from the get-go, it becomes such a beautiful spirit, giving, loving, sweet, talented, like Alexandria, my favorite person in the whole entire world. So karma's not going to be avoided. Justice will be had. I don't plan on hanging anybody, though. I do expect to put them on the stand and have them explain themselves. Oh, now you're there. Maybe the judge will ask you that. Why don't you explain why? And what has been going through your head to simply treat my daughter and I like this, like as if we were already dead? I want to know why and what. Was it ignorance? Was it because you needed someone to blame? Was it threatened? Was it paid off? Was it ego? What is it? I want to know. It's time we hold people accountable for speaking the truth. No forever remaining silent. No way, Jose. No loopholes. The truth hurts. But you wouldn't want to have it any other way. And so if I've got anything to say about it, like I did a long time ago, me and Alexandria are going to change the world. And if the sky phenomenon has anything to say about it, me and Alexandria are going to change the world. And if the intelligence has anything to say about it, the intelligence and Alexandria and I and all of us united are going to change the world. We're all going to be heroes. I've already got the game plan for that in sight. And I have no reason to doubt what's being knocking on my wall and showing me day after day after day in such a magical way to go, yeah, it actually is that awesome. And I'm not trying to own it for just me. No. It's probably 144,000 are probably just mother-child covenants ready to say, fuck this shit. We're fighting back type thing. Meaning standing on the hill ready to go, not anymore. Not anymore. We're taking off the yoke. We're taking care of our babies and you're going to sit down. That's probably what that represents. And I'm getting chills on my cheeks. So that's probably very true. I believe that all of us can find ourselves in that story somewhere, somehow. Try it. Because worst case scenario, we're making things new now anyway. And we're not going to bicker about it. We're not going to bicker about it. You know? This is what we really all have been waiting for. And I think I can say without a shadow of a doubt, personally, oh, it's here. And it's almost time. Somehow I know this, for us to shift into care. So let's be willing, guys. Do you know that that's the secret? You don't have to kill anything to get forgiven. You got to forgive yourself. Yeah. You got to be willing. That doesn't sound that hard, does it? Like, for example, as an investigator, if you're on the phone with someone who's having a real hard time, that's something that sounds really devastating. and that's your job, maybe what you should do is set aside your power trip, hate, and alliance with a dark, sinister cartel. Have some heart. Because the intelligence is always watching and listening. That's going to be the first audit, where we go through the archives of information that's been collected since the year 2000. We're going to find out what did happen and what didn't happen already on the record. And everyone's going to get their grade. So you can't even change your tune today and get a better score. That's just information for your next. It would behoove you to situate yourself properly if you care to represent yourself as someone with integrity. Because everybody's going to be fired. We're going to put new people, if necessary, in those positions. And you're going to have to reapply. Everyone. Because it's starting from scratch, auditing it in full, disclosing to everybody, bringing us all up to par, involving us all at the same time, and nobody's going to get away with corruption, violence, evil, or perversions. And intelligence is going to be there to make sure that mankind and all of its sinister and tendencies doesn't get in the way. And it should be welcomed. So that's my status update. Let's see if I can find that one that I wanted to find. Oh no, this. Hey, you gotta be raw. That's how you get better at stuff. Practice, right? So this is just the beginning of the song. But it won't let me fast forward it. That's just not fair. Oh, what am I supposed to do? There it is. I'm curious. That's cool though. I actually can see it on the camera a little bit. If you can see this. Turn it on. Copper sulfate. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So beautiful. Can't really capture how sparkly it is. I make these. We all can make them. It's good to learn how fractals work and how crystals work. We're all crystals. You know that? Everything is a crystal. Meaning when we're cohesive, you can reflect light. And it can always correct itself. trying to see how to use this camera. There we go. I really don't have my directions. Here we go. Oh, wow. That's cool. Right? I like the song though. It's called "The Mamas We Are Here to Save Our Babies." Hold it. That's okay. I don't mind. Hold it. Here we go. There. It even talks about in Isaiah, the servant and his songs. You can sing your songs, it says. Is this the song I think it is? Okay, well that's frustrating. Why is it doing that? Because someone's hacking me right now, that's what it is. Hey hacker, get off my computer. I'm trying to listen without the fuzzy sounds. Unless it's cute. Well, at least if you're going to be fuzzy sounds, can you at least go along with the song? The timing? Like a drum. Work it out, baby. You can do it. So ready, I'm so ready, I'm so ready, I'm so ready, I'm so ready. I'm so ready, so ready, so ready. Oh, I'm so ready. Come to me, come to me, come to me, yeah. Come me, yeah. So ready, to let go now. Get my baby back, yeah. Come on, let's go. Girl, your prettiest girl. Well, my women, well, my sisters, well, my fellow mamas. It's too many days gone now, and a second longer than the first one, and you know it's not right to do, but you've been left there for, day after year for, that you're vendetta for. Oh. Not like you, I've been around you too, but it feels amazing. You've always been upright. Therefore, taking it away from now. I wonder why you ever gonna come around with your mind up here. Serious conversation. And I'm wearing clothes, by the way. It just doesn't look like it. From the baby's eyes and the baby's heart and the baby's life and yeah, and the heart of loving heart. So protected, like my mama always does, yeah. How selfish to take a baby away from my mama. No, likewise would wanna lose up and not take good care of you, not give everything you got. And I wonder if we let it go down like that for too long. And I know that the light is here, and darkness has been the one that was in the darkness. And the light is here, and I know who wins. And light, we're on time, and you tried so hard. Love is out of the real too. But don't you know that we see what is real? This is our world. You know the run-off babies, and you come back. There's more of us around than I see of you around here. Why would you want to get in the middle of that? Yeah, baby's back. Yeah, put the sun around our babies right now. Get out of my ways. We ain't talking about your politics. We ain't talking about your money. We ain't talking about the charges we got on you. We got on you. Just hand the keys over, boy. It's time for someone else to be driving now. You guys in this mess. And when I put it together, yes. We're going now, and tonight the light, no. The mamas we are here, yeah. And the mamas we are, yeah. We're going anywhere. You can just take that from my soldier, yeah. We got our own jurisdiction, and who could argue that now? Who could argue with that? Your is right. The mamas we are, yeah. Telling me the mamas we are, yeah. Oh, we are the mamas of the babies of the earth. And they are the future owners, future owners, future owners. It's time to take the world back, mamas. Be a warrior, mama. Protect your babies. And help each other get our babies back. Fix this place proper. Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. It's probably not going to be what anybody's been told. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. What was in the corner of baby? And I'm coming for Alexandria. Coming for Alexandria. Calling you Alexandria. Calling me Alexandria. In a galactic Uber to come and show up now. I need a ride real quick. Better get your butt over here. Good place. Thanks for the ride. Let I go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the night that I saw the clouds for the first time. That's why I showed it to you. Because it's been real magical and awesome. It's been real magical and awesome for me. And it's exactly the magnitude of something I needed to keep hope. Not like I was going to lose it, but you know what I'm saying, to just have a little bit of something on my side, because this has been unbearably, I just can't even imagine how this type of thing happens. But taking it on the positive note, the one way I can look at it is that this has been a test by God to let me show what I'm all about, to let me show that I have integrity and prove it when I had no inclination of having to prove it to anyone but me and my daughter. And it keeps knocking on my wall saying, hey, fuck yeah, you're hearing it, you're with it, you got it. Well, awesome. Because I was determined one way or another anyway. But to get that universe's advocacy feels real good, especially when I've been left for dead. We still have a long way to go. But I'm sharing this because I'm clearing the energy that tried to assault my soul, wearing a badge and a clipboard that says, protect children. And I find that really disappointing, but encouraging. Because you know what we're going to do for the children? Any kind of dispute, child abuse, or changing the status quo is not going to get a guardian ad litem. You're going to get a service dog with a collar that can hear. And now no one's going to get their paws on the babies ever again. Now the child isn't going to be going through anything at home alone again, nor have to go to school and never be bullied again. And I got more solutions like that where that came from. Solutions. No arguments, no bickering, no bloodshed. Now let's all put our best foot forward, tuck our shirts in, proverbially speaking, and behave like earthlings that are simply moving forward and not going to look back. Why would we? We're not going in that direction anyway. Come on. Let's go. Just be willing. Okay? Right? It's like a heart. All my love and all my light. Bring me laughter, protection. Send Alexandria. And in the most deepest way, I pray that God gives Jorge insight, motivation to change his own perverse criminal ways. Even he could choose to forgive himself and be willing to have some integrity, and he could change the tune of his future. But the time is now. I don't know how much longer, but I can feel it. So we don't have any time to waste. Put your best foot forward, whoever you are. Know that at minimum, you are connected to heaven through your other half of yourself. So if you're a girl, your masculine side is up in heaven and you are full and whole. If you're a boy, your feminine side is up there. And hey, the people that are going through this transgender thing that they're trying to molest you with, slow down, creeps. Let's get our chromosomes and start looking at them. Let's start having fascination with what God gave us, because life isn't easy. We've all got to get good with ourselves. Take it, slow down, guys. You guys are molesting them. That's not going to go down anymore. We're going to love our children. We're going to give them the environment that they can thrive in with love. So I look forward to seeing all of you on the front line. What's that? The front line. When you pass your test, you're going to get to the starting line for us to begin. This is our first second chance. And we're going to give ourselves that. You better believe it. And I send this to everyone worldwide, just flying through and ricocheting off and not going back till it's a bell ringing and resonating outward, a sound of harmoniousness coming into tune. Be your frequency. Be your higher self. Be love. Be light. Be laughter. Be moving forward. Put your best foot forward. On that note, guys, till then, I love you, Alec.